there's floundering and then the backwaters.
And then floundering, flounders, bass, mullet, all fishes of the backwater. And we've caught them all. I've done groving, or grubbing, if you like, and that means getting into pools in the creeks, deep pools, and you put your hands on the bed of the mud, just the tips of your fingers, and gently course the mud with the fingertips. And you can feel a flounder, feel it there, you can feel the flounder there, and when you find one, he won't move if you're very, very gently, you just touch him. Find his head, find his tail, head, you want this head. And as soon as you find his head, you put his head straight into the mud, so he can't do anything. Then you get hold of him and have a bit of wire around your belt, put him on a bit of wire, still alive, just through the gills and head. And we get 30 or 40 flounders in an afternoon, groving, just in the muds.
Is that what they call tickling?
No, well, I suppose it is a type of tickling, but we just call it groving for them. Or if you've got one that was a really big one, throw it up on the mud, throw it out the water, well out the water, so it couldn't go anywhere, and then get it. That was flounders. Also, we used to catch them on rod and line, but bass and mullet, I used to shoot them. As long as you're quiet and still, and they were right to the top. They've got to be right to the top of the water. They're not under the water. They've got to be right to the top of the water, because otherwise you shot one, that doesn't do anything to a fish. It just frightens it. But if you get them right on the top, straight down over the salt and wallop, you get them every time. And I thought, it was a long way away.
Yeah.
So I thought, if he's a wildfowler, I could call him. And he was a wildfowler, have a widgeon whistle. Have a little quiet. I just kept that silent and just...
What's a widgeon whistle?
Right? Just as simple as that. And this person stopped. I was on the marsh, I was that long way, and stopped. So I gave them another one, and they came, and I drew them right up to me until they stood above me.
Really? Yeah.
And that was a friendship that's still going on.
Yeah.
All those, he said, you decoyed me all that way. He said, I thought I was going after a widgeon, and that was you sitting in the creek whistling. I goes to bring birds right into me. But there was no missing. If they came in close enough, they were dead.
Yeah.
And then old Joe Carrington, that come up Naze, he had an NSU quickly.
That's right,
He'd
yeah.
come up in Naze and he'd look through Dad's garden and he'd go, going to dig some potatoes up? So his father would say, yeah. He'd dig some potatoes up. He'd say, oh, can I have some? So yeah. So he'd take 5. So is that all you want, Joe? It's not a very big feed. He said, no, that's fine. When you went up to Thorpe Horticultural Society, Joe had got 5 new potatoes, all the perfect size. Winner.
So going back to accents, if somebody come in the pub, could you tell he was from Suffolk?
Yes.
We're very similar to Suffolk. We're a Suffolk accent, really.
Yeah.
We ought to be in Suffolk.
Yeah.
We've got more to do. This corner's got more to do with Suffolk than we have with Essex, really.
Mm.
With double.
But it's different accent.
Yeah.
Joe Carrington one day I went shooting with him and he had pigeon decoys made of cardboard, you know?
Yeah.
Why have they got so many little holes through them? He put them out, and then we were getting them out, they all got little holes through them.
I have had
So
those.
he used to come up and see Dad, he said, well, pigeon shooting yesterday, he said, 20 pigeons, 21 shots. So I found out why, because the first lot let them land. Drill one through them while they're on the ground, and one as they get up.
Yeah.
And then you're a bit of a head for shooting the rest of the day.
That's right. That's right.
But your decoys do get ventilated.
They
The
do.
rubber ones can stand it, but the cardboard ones. Oh dear.
We had some games. We have had some games, no doubt
Well,
about it.
people had nothing, that was the thing. People didn't
No.
have anything.
No, no.
You know?
I know you asked if it was that because it was like the rollout from the war and still the rations, and it was just was there an economic kind of like what was it that was happening? Like, was there any workaround?
There was tons of work around, and I think, like, for me, I mean, they were getting over the war, I suppose. That's why Father ended up as a gamekeeper, because he needed a house. And then he got into it, and it never sort of altered. But for me, the 1960s broke everything, didn't they? 1960s made everything easy. It was boom time. You could have a job in the morning, a job in the afternoon.
Yeah, you could.
I had a Lambert scooter, I had all the mods gear, like the mohair suit and all that. Tons of money, Italian leather shoes. And I was only a labourer, son, you know, but I could go and earn money. I was around the town. There was tons of things. I'd work on the pier or ice cream parlour or something. There was always work, plenty of work. I worked at Flint Lawn Tennis Club, the Round Gardens. I worked there for
Yeah,
quite a while.
yeah.
See, I in 40 years only had 3 jobs, and that was fairly common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I only had one job, but when I was 16, they were just jobbing jobs, so you just did it for money. And there wasn't plenty of money. There was plenty of money in the 60s until I went to college, and there wasn't a lot of anything, but that's what I chose to do. But people around here
didn't have references or testimonials or anything like that.
No, not for ice cream selling jobs, she didn't. No, if you were there in the morning.
I became professional wildfowl to get money to live on, because we didn't have enough money to live on, did we, girl?
There was the jobs, but they didn't pay, did
No,
No,
And that's the
we all had
60s that
to,
you've just been talking about. You were doing that.
you know, and
we need somebody who worked in the foundry, don't we?
I worked in the fair for a short time,
Didn't you?
yes. In between jobs, I
I
was made
worked in the
redundant, got a
foundry
job,
for 5
and then went
days.
back to where they wanted me from the first place.
What kind of time were you in the foundry? Like, when would that be?
No, that was recent, wasn't it?
That was,
Like 70s, 80s?
I reckon that was late 70s, early 80s.
Was it?
I reckon.
Because I worked at Bramble. It exploded. I
No,
worked at
no, it
Bramble.
must be because you left Oxley's when?
I can't remember.
What, where they make frozen chips?
Well, we
It's like
made,
delivery and they make
we
frozen
made
chips.
explosives.
I know, they make explosives. I see the big ship coming in there.
But I worked right out on my own in a little hut on my own because it was dangerous. What I did, I worked in a nitro cotton store.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
But going back to the foundry, didn't once a year he used to pay for all his people to go to London for a big do in a hotel?
He possibly did,
You
don't
never
know.
went.
but I don't know.
When I first started teaching up the road in 1970, I used to take the kids up there, and they were still casting metal there. They had a crucible furnace.
Yeah.
No, not crucible furnace. Oh, I forget what it's called now. But they had a furnace. And cupid furnace, I don't know, yeah, it might be. And the man used to go in with a metal rod, knock a hole in the thing, and the man used to pour
That's
it
right.
up. And then he used to plug a clay on and go and bang it
Yeah.
in the hole.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
exactly right.
Fantastic.
Doug Plug was the bloke on that. Doug
What was his name? His little man.
Yeah, that Dougie, and I think he's still alive.
Is he?
Yeah,
He was a little man.
yeah, Doug.
I used to watch
He
him.
lived up Kirby Road way.
Yeah, I think he did.
But,
I used to watch him walk in. You only had one go there. Walk straight and bang it in there.
Isn't that chap Manning, that was his name. Doug Manning.
Oh, right, yeah.
Doug,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, Doug a plug.
Don't know.
I used to load my job, when the short time I was there, was loading all the old scrap metal up into that thing, so that
Cupid
burn.
furnace, all right.
I used to work for a foundry engineers.
I did it. It's Cupid furnace.
you know what we're talking about, you know.
How many people were there? How many people in the foundry?
Not many when I was there, they were getting
At
down.
one time, it was
never know.
100, at least 100 people.
Yeah.
And of course, all the moulding sand was the floor. It wasn't special, it was just the floor.
Just the floor,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just wet it a little bit and mix it over with the shovel and then
sort
put
of
it in.
creamy, it's a real
Green-
smell.
Green sand, yeah.
The last job I remember done, they'd have a cast and a keel of a boat.
They did a bit of that towards the end. I never saw them casting piano frames.
Nor did I.
That was
When
all
I
done.
said that's finished.
I worked for a foundry that made the bits for the hand looms they use out in the Hebrides to make Harris tweed.
Ah.
Some
you
way
know.
pianos, wasn't it? They used to do it.
Well, they used to do frames for pianos, and I'm not sure which ones and that. And of course, at one time it must have been big because it had its own dock.
Yeah, it was a special name. wasn't it?
400 people worked there, didn't
Was it called
400.
Port Stay?
Port side.
Outside the dock, was you?
Yeah.
And it's filled in now, but the dock there was, it must have been quite busy at one time.